active in China, in Southeast Asia, and now surprisingly as well in Pakistan. You mentioned you have here 19 startups.
I think it's 17. Yeah, 17. So we're investing in markets that are similar to where China was, right? So I'm American, we're an American fund, but we were investing in China. China had a revolution, a lot of that driven by digital and technology. 700 million people out of poverty, right? So over the last 20 years of investing in China, we've learned how to use technology to transform people's lives. So we don't invest in China anymore. But we're taking what we learned from China and also India and Indonesia to frontier emerging markets. We actually like to call them mobile first or mobile only markets. People's first experience with the internet or only experience with the internet is on a smartphone or on a mobile phone. So that's why we're here in Pakistan. The timing is right. You have inexpensive data. You have smartphones that they're a lot more expensive now with inflation than before, but they're relatively inexpensive and they work. And you can pay for things. Payment's still a bit early. It's cash on demand, but you can pay for things. There's enough trust that people can do a cash on demand type of delivery. So we started investing end of 2019. COVID was rough, but all 17 companies still alive. That's good. Positive unit economics, and some of the companies have done very well. Like Dastigir last year raised a Series A, the largest Series A in the history of the country. Around 50
How much was it?
It's about $50 million, and they raised it from the owner of the number one, number two telco, Jazz, here in the market. And the cool thing about them is it's still positive unit economics. You know, the drive is not towards growth at any cost, but profitable growth.
And have you invested into other companies in GCC region?
So we invested in, we started in a year ago in GCC. We did one investment, and actually it's a cross-border trucking company. So they're active not just across GCC, but also Middle East, including Pakistan. It's called Lorries with a Z. But the cool thing is that we think there's a huge opportunity in the Middle East market, in the GCC market. We have our companies from India, from Egypt, from Pakistan, all entering the market. We now have 14 portfolio companies on the ground in the Middle East and GCC, actively doing business, setting up offices. In Saudi Arabia, we have 3 companies active and more companies going. We think that's a big opportunity there because you've got that triple threat. You've got, you know, people who can get on the internet inexpensively through smartphones, and then you also have the ability to pay for things. And again, we're focused on mass market, you know, low income, middle income, not just rich people. And there's a huge opportunity there to use technology to allow people to have that economic independence. You know, they can basically make more money, they can work, and they make enough, you know, to get out of the poverty line.
And the most innovations are probably happening like in US and China, and as well they have already just a bunch of startups, and they don't need to tackle those problems which there are in the emerging markets like in Pakistan or in other developing regions. So doesn't it seem for you like just copying from what was already created before by some other big giants and just implementing it into these emerging markets?
Yeah, I think, so 2 things. One is, yes, we to some extent invest in boring things that make money. That's why our performance as a VC is, you know, like top 5-10% in the world, pretty consistently. Boring things that make money, I'll do it all day long. Now, our companies are very much tech-driven, and it's not copy exact. So a lot of the challenges that were in China are similar to the challenges in India, then Indonesia, then Middle East, and then South Asia, like Pakistan. But every market's a bit different. You're not just copy-paste, it's copy. A lot of the problems are similar, the solutions are not. And we're really leveraging technology, leveraging data, leveraging algorithms, and sometimes, you know, some pretty hardcore machine learning to optimize, to make things more efficient. Yes, I'll do boring things that make money all day long. And we have some exciting stuff that makes money too. But, yeah.
And what regions are considered to be the most active, the most startup friendly, and as well where the most innovation in the world happening?
So I'd say those are so in terms of innovation. Of course, you've got the centers, Silicon Valley, you're at Beijing, but I think innovation is not just in the big markets; it's all around the world. The challenge with VC is usually by region, and those big regions like Silicon Valley and Beijing, they eat up all the capital. We're global. We think that there's innovation all around the world, and we're investing in the best of the best from around the world, and then helping those companies get to a bigger market. Grow up out of their home country, go region. So there's innovation everywhere. I think everybody knows about Beijing, knows about Shenzhen, knows about San Francisco or LA or New York, but they don't know about what's going on, say, in India or the Middle East or even in LATAM. In terms of where it's easy to invest, the U.S. is very easy. Singapore is very easy. Europe is
Easy in terms of what?
well easy to invest. There's a legal structure.
Yeah.
Banks. We are not really into doing things that are easy. If you can do something that's hard, oftentimes there's a much greater return. So one of the most amazing things is, Pakistan has had a very tough 1 or 2 years. There's a massive flood, affected 40 million plus people. There is no potatoes, onions, or tomatoes currently available in the markets here from local producers because the flood wiped out the entire crop for the season. That was tough. Food prices gone through the roof. You've got inflation. You've got a series of currency devaluations, and you have politics. And in spite of that, we're seeing tech-driven transformation. Our company is growing 10, 15, 20% a month, every month, even in US dollars. They might have a quick blip here and there, but they're seeing great growth. So the places that are tough, we like them. There's less competition, and we're actually seeing good results in spite of all the economic headwinds, the political headwinds, and climate. So far so good.
And you invest as well, particularly in blockchain. SOSV invested into 45 blockchain startups. How many of those startups were in Orbit Startups Accelerator?
Yeah, so I think about 30, and we started early. So we look at blockchain as an enabling technology. So transparency, security, and trust. We focus mostly on blockchain for media and blockchain for fintech. The protocol work is done out of our D-Lab group out of New York. Yeah.
And you mentioned your first blockchain investment was in 2015?
Yes, so we did 4 kind of crypto fintechs.
What were your first crypto investments?
Okay, so the first 3 died. We were trying to leverage crypto to do cross-border currency without fees or without crazy fees. Because if you wanted to send money from Chile to China, it would cost you 7 days or longer, and it would cost you, I don't know, you wanted to send $5,000, you would have to pay $500 in fees.
Crazy.
Yeah, in currency. So we thought that would be a great thing to have. It ended up not being completely legal. So 3 out of the 4 died, and 2 of them were in currency movement. Now today, this is like 7, 8 years later, there are companies successfully doing this, but it was just way too early, and we probably shouldn't have started off with China, where the currency is controlled. The one that did work was Bitmex. Bitmex was the first crypto derivatives exchange. We were actually, one of the reasons why we invested, we wanted to enable anybody with a mobile phone wallet all around the world to buy an S&P 500 ETF derivative. So as little as $5, they didn't even have to have a bank account, but they could get Bitcoin, and they could basically buy an ETF. Warren Buffett says the S&P 500 index is the best thing to put money in. It returns a pretty consistent 15, 16% or whatever over a 10-year period. We wanted to open that up to the world. Bitmex actually launched it.
But now
Nobody
it's
cared.
not popular for
Nobody
it.
cared, and they shut it down because the problem is all those people in the emerging and frontier markets that might benefit from an ETF, they didn't have the ability to get Bitcoin. So what was ended up being popular was basically volatility and the ability to capture that. as a product. So unlimited trading volume, leverage up to 100x. Most people do no more than 20x, but the ability to capture that volatility, and so that was great. We learned our lessons in terms of KYC and regulatory. So now I think Bitmex is positioned as the most regulatory friendly exchange in the world. Now we probably have the toughest KYC in the world. So if you're in markets that Bitmex does not serve, you will not be able to get an account. But if you are, I highly recommend Bitmex because it's super stable, super regulatory friendly, and not like FTX.
Well, yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
And what's are there your latest investments into blockchain?
So we've invested in a company, and we are regulatory friendly. So what they're doing is basically fractional real estate. But
What's
on
the
us,
name of it?
it's called ZOTH, ZOTH. They're two Indian founders. We've been working with these founders for a long time. They used to work at AB InBev, Budweiser, and the innovation team. And for Budweiser, they were launching like Budweiser tokens, and they did pretty well with it. Actually, Budweiser is one of the strategic partners for Orbit Startups. We've been working with them for 8 years, and they're an investor in our fund. So when they spun out to do this startup, fractional real estate on a smart contract, we wanted to back them. The cool thing is they just announced they are in the sandbox. They're one of 5 players to be in the sandbox to get an actual license to do this. And they're the only startup to get that. The other ones are like big banks and big players. So we're super excited about ZOTH. They're raising a round now. Please get in touch with me or get in touch with ZOTH.
Yeah, and what's other trends in crypto blockchain do you see now?
Yeah,
Do
so
you see the development of this industry?
So I think one of the biggest trends that most people aren't talking about is TradFi, traditional finance players, slowly getting into crypto. FTX blew up in the same week. Fidelity launched crypto, and they're advertising all over Facebook to old people, right? So most people don't use Facebook, but traditional, like older baby boomers, and then people who are 50s and above, they still use a lot of Facebook, right? I think that's a big trend. Not a lot of people are talking about it, but this inevitable march of blockchain and crypto towards mainstream, it's still continuing on. And through this downturn, a lot of the traditional banks and financial institutions are still making their moves. So I think that's something to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your portfolio companies with us. Hope to see more successful companies on your site.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks a lot.